Welcome back, guys. We are gearing up for our match in Pool B. It is going to be Triggers Down taking on Team blanked out. Chris, what is it?
What? I got you. What is it? What is this, guy? This is payback from one of the last times. Revolution.
Man, that's the ticket.
Yes.
That's the ticket.
Well, anyway, you see our Twitters down low. During the event, we want you guys to tweet us your setups. We'll be showing all the setups from you guys from around the world. So make sure you tweet me and Gandhi what you guys are watching it on. Just a picture. We'll throw it up during the broadcast today so you guys can get on that. But I think we're going to run through a little bit more of the pool play standings. So, Genius, you can bring up that Pool A graphic.
And we are waiting, but, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory here. As you see, at the top of the list is going to be Instinct. They are up 2-0. Fnatic Classic is 2-1. Complexity Final Boss. Now, they haven't played their third match, but they should be able to go up 2-1. They should be able to take that next match, putting them at 2-1, and that would give them the tiebreaker over Classic. And then, you know, Straight Rippin came out and beat Carbon. Carbon actually took the first game. I think it was almost even the second game as well. And Straight Rippin really just battled back, forced a Game 5, and then beating him out.
Final Boss, actually, the only two matches they have left are the bottom two in the pool right now, Carbon and the Straight Rippin. So it looks like they're going to be ending 3-1 with the tiebreaker over Classic. They can do that. But looking at Pool B, and we talked about this match, Triggers Down rocking 2-0, Revolution at 2-1. That's the match coming up right after we're done talking about these pools. And the winner of this, if Triggers Down wins this, they're going to go up 3-0 with their last match going to be against Pure. So they're already looking extremely, actually their last match being against Pure. So they're looking pretty strong right now. They're doing very well. And then you see Status Quo 1-1. They're still in the running. Their last two matches again against Pure and the amateur team. So they're looking like they might play second place in the pool depending on Triggers Down winning.
Taking a look at Pool C, we see as Infamous is leading. They have not dropped a single series yet. They are 2-0. Warriors nipping at their heels here. They're 2-1. Turning Point is 1-1, though they lost last night to Infamous, but they have yet to play Warriors, so it'll be
they defeated Warriors.
They just did.
Their last two matches are going to be against Severance and New Era, so Turning Point now also in a good position to finish second place in their pool if both of the Infamous and Turning Point close out the rest of their games.
Wow, so very fascinating stuff here. Now on to Pool D, which we thought was going to be our pool of death, but things are kind of working out, you know, in favor of Dynasty, which was the guys I predicted to take this pool. Not to brag or anything, they have yet to lose a series. Believe the Hype kind of got the business last night against them, but they are still 2-1 in the pool. Active Rush clinching that third spot, so you know that's really not going to be that bad. Link Secret, though, not a single win.
Yeah, definitely having a rough tournament there. You can see Dynasty is in a very strong position to win the tournament. If Dynasty falls to any of these other teams, they'll probably end up 3-1 along with Believe the Hype. Obviously, with the tiebreaker over them, they're going to get into the winner's bracket semifinals and win Pool D. So now we're about to get into our games. I think. Are we going to a commercial break? I don't think we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to go straight into the games. Triggers Down versus Revolution. We've got Game 1 coming up on Nexus King of the Hill.
Game number 1, you guys tweeted us and you told us you wanted to watch Neighbor, so that's exactly who we're bringing up. Of course, he will be dressed in blue in this series because they are actually the lower seed over Revolution, even though they are currently winning their pool. So right off the bat here, Triggers Down is in a 3-on-3 situation. Apex Revolution seems to be very snipe-oriented, whereas, you know, right now, you know, even though Strongside got in the hill, it seemed as though Triggers Down was looking for that first initial push on that hill to scrap some time.
Triggers Down doing a good job kind of staying back and baiting Revolution into the hill. And now we see both teams kind of just fighting around the bases. We're starting to see them spawn on opposite sides of the map, kind of random here. And both teams are going to be kind of trying to lock down at least one base, so they're going to make their way up to green and be able to get some hill time. Twin Savior with the sniper, he's going to be at blue base, kind of going to be guarding this hill, making sure that they don't get any kind of milking hill time for a little bit. And we see as Arcanum at the gold, trying to hold it down. and watching the hill.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see if Strongside's going to bring that fire that we've seen in the past tournaments when he was on Warriors, that Game 5 instance, and just really just overall slaying ability to this team. They didn't force a Game 5 last night. They very well had the potential to definitely go Game 5, Chris.
It definitely didn't. Arcanum has 0 health right now.
What?
Somehow staying alive, picking up a pretty huge double kill. He's going to be going to try to find this health back. There he goes, finally getting back up to full health. And Triggers down, taking an early lead, not too many points. What you see now is Revolutions in the hill.
Yeah, and Bestman was telling me that Oasis King isn't one of their best game types. Actually, it is their worst. But Nexus King, you know, they're very well practiced on this map, which is one of the few they were able to actually practice well because, you know, I guess they didn't feel like practicing for this event, but they're doing a kick-ass job so far without practice.
Exactly. I can't believe it. 2 teams without practice. Final boss, and now Triggers down, kind of showing that apparently you don't need to play Halo to do good at a Halo tournament. I mean, obviously we wouldn't preach that. That's not necessarily true. But you can see these guys are veterans, and they've played on Nexus before. The Nexus has been featured in the past events, so that might have also helped them out. They've actually played it a decent amount in the past.
Well, I think the purpose, still talking about this whole practice ordeal, is, you know, Bestman and this team of Triggers Down, you know, when you have Neighbor and Bestman and Neighbor are definitely widely known for always switching their settings and overthinking the gameplay. So by playing less as a team and really just getting that quality practice, and they don't overthink the game and they reduce it to what it is. Infamous, I think, pretty much paved the road for teams at our last event to show how exactly you should play this, which is, you know, as Infamous says, the least, as long as you don't miss and you get the objective done, you're going to win. And that's pretty much what teams seem to be reducing this game now to.
Yeah, just charging, making sure their shots are on fire. And that's going to be true in almost any single game, I feel, especially first-person shooters.
Yeah.
If you're going to be out shooting the other team, you're most likely going to be winning. But obviously there are some strategy involved there. You have to be going to the right areas. You got to be helping your teammates out. You don't want to be screwing it over, especially when it comes to objective games. But we're seeing Revolution hold it down right now at the Red Hill. And it seems that they're going to get about 40 seconds of or 40 points of time right now. And they've got a nice setup here. You can see Strongside, Mike on the top, Mike right in front, guarding the yellow, and Wealth with the other player in the hill. Amish Acorn sitting on that elbow, making sure no one can sneak through, kind of laying down shots. But unfortunately, their teammate at the green tunnels went down, and we can see Triggers Down making a huge push.
And, you know, so far, you know, I kind of like Nexus King of the Hill on this map, Chris. It actually works out. Now, everyone always complains, you know, about the sporadic spawns, but it seems as though it's not too big of a problem for these teams. They are so well aware, and they're so used to, you know, how this game is, that the spawns are pretty much the same in every single game. Or map, rather.
And your boy Crimsix going off with the sniper again here on Nexus. He just had a pretty sick no-scope a little bit ago.
Oh, this was the positioning he was at. I don't know if you guys watched the Friday night recap video where it looks like I took an EpiPen into my heart because I was so jacked up. But that's his positioning where he did the deed last night. Very impressive. And Bestman hit him with a little hop ski right there. Taking a little move from me. I think it's called the something hop. What is it?
The Gandhi hop.
Yeah,
we see Arcanum picking up that triple kill. And we can see now Triggers Down's getting in the hill. But looking at that point of time, 104 to 40, the hill time Revolution got, especially at the base hill, seems to be the key. You know, the point of this game, you're going to want to get a few points when the hill's top green. But the biggest thing is you're going to want to set up at the bases. That's where you're really going to get the most points.
Yeah, and Bestman was telling me with the new format of the rotating King of the Hill Game 1 or the Capture the Flag Game 1, he actually likes it better, King of the Hill, because you have more momentum coming out of that Game 3 if it is a close series, because, you know, you get that last flag catch. You're not just, like, hanging on if you win by, you know, a guaranteed time. So, I mean, if it's impossible for the other team to win, you kind of lose that momentum. But when you get that last flag cap, you know, you carry that momentum on through to Game 4.
It's a great point. We see a lot of times at the end of King of the Hill games, especially if one team's dominating the other, they don't seem to necessarily play as hard, or the other team starts to really kind of pick it up, feeling that they really have nothing to lose, especially in that game, and will carry the momentum all the way through. But we're going to have the hill moving in about 20 seconds. It's going to be moving over the blue side. So I'm thinking we're going to see some players start to try to get over there and really start holding that side of the map down. Triggers down right now on the red side, but we're going to see Goofy moving up to move over to the new base where the Hill Swim is spawned.
And I really like watching Goofy play, Chris. I mean, he's a very well-rounded player. And, you know, Bestman told me his best attribute is communication, which is so important in this game because, as you said, with the ability to sprint, you're able to sprint to those one-shot callouts as Bestman rips off that guy's face with a nice no-scope.
See Amish sitting in the front of the base. He's going to try to get over there for Revolution, but the rest of Revolution having a tough time getting into the blue side of the map. Now they all pretty much made a mad dash as Twin Savior behind the base with the grenade launcher. He's going to be trying to hold it down for his team. And you can see here, it's kind of just a big cluster. They're not exactly sure where everyone's spawning. They're going to be trying to guard it, but it seems that Revolution has solidified their position on the hill side of the map.
And, you know, they're really just doing a solid job here. Notice how as soon as this hill push, they really just gained control of the base, which is blue base. They got control of that flag. They cleared them out from the back closet spawn. And because of that, now Triggers Down will be spawning at the opposite side. And as soon as I say that, they were not blocking the closet spawn. And Bestman has spawned behind them. And he is looking to get tricky. And instead, he is going to get shut down by Crimsix as he picks up a no scope.
But the rest of his team seems to be spawning on that corner. We've got two more players, but they're both one-shots. So Revolution should have a chance to clean these guys up. But good play right there by Bestman. Goofy also coming from behind, getting an assassination. And it seems that TD should be able to break this setup, but not before Revolution taking a huge lead so far in this game.
Well, Status Quo beat Triggers Down 250 to 90 on Oasis King. And they still won the series 3-1. So I really just think these members on Triggers Down are just not used to King of the Hill yet on this map or on any of the map that we feature it. So this is kind of just like a warm-up for them almost in that sense. We used to have a game that was guaranteed a loss, and, you know, we just kind of pushed through it. You know, as long as you know your weaknesses, you can learn to bounce back from them. Of course, you want to win that game, but it's still good to, you know, kind of know you have a weaker map.
And sometimes, you know, if you have that weaker map and you win it also, you get endless amounts of confidence, especially going into that game. But it seems Revolution does have a lead, but this is not a lead that you can't overcome. 50 seconds, you could definitely make that up on a single base hill, especially if you get full control. It's just that Triggers Down needs to be a little bit careful. They really don't want to fall behind too much more, especially if there's only 7 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, and, you know, this is really, you know, our second look at Neighbor. Kind of interested to see how he plays everything out. I wonder if he is going to be the Slayer Neighbor that we have seen in the past, or if he's kind of adapted. You know, he actually looks as he's playing a little bit slower pace, you know. He's not putting himself in those ridiculous positions, and he's doing a good job. I think he has finally figured out his play style for this game.
Neighbor definitely played a little bit different in our first event than we're used to seeing. I remember back when he was on Impact, he was more of a sit behind. He was a sneaky player, objective player. He seemed to get a little bit away from that. They got second place in our Dallas event. It was very impressive. He seems to get a little bit away, and now he's been trying to slay a little bit more, and I really think that's improved his play style. I mean, he's still a great objective player when he needs to do it, but we really, if you have Neighbor on your team, you really want him out there slaying.
Yeah, for sure, Chris. And you know, Neighbor, after getting that second place, joined Triggers Down, which for some reason it made absolutely no sense, and then he got 13th, and then after that team, Straight Rippin', you know, T-Squared and Legit take second place at our second event. And then they break up, and then they reform Straight Rippin', and then they don't place in the top 12.
Yeah,
not the best team decisions here so far.
And so far in Halo Reach, we've got a lot of team changing players between events trying to do big things. But looking at their selling, look at Twin Savior and his time in the hill. This is 147 points from Twin Savior, picking up the slack for Revolution, getting in the hill, being the guy, and that way Strong Side, Amish, and Crimsix can all worry about Slang.
Yeah, and he actually has more time than Triggers Down does as a team. That's absurd.
Can't feel good for Triggers Down. See the lead starting to get a little bit bigger, and now Revolution with full control of the red side of the map again. They've got Amish Acorns on top of the base with the sniper, Twin Savior with the grenade launcher, and Strong Side and Crimsix watching the hill. Looks like this is the perfect setup they've been looking for. And it's going to be pretty hard for Triggers Down to break this anytime soon.
Yeah, Bestman's trying his best by pushing through the sniper. Arcanum's coming down low, pushing River. Neighbor is top green, and Goofy now as well is top gold. So they're going to be trying to do a 4-man push here, but one of them's already going to go down. This may not be the best push as Twin Savior's coming behind with this grenade launcher, and he's going to clear him out. So that is pretty much going to be GM, which is good map.
Well, they've got to spawn in the back of the red base, but it seems that, again, we've got Twin Savior's strong side and Amish Acorns.
Too smart.
From both sides. They completely flanked it, cornered the guy in the back, and now just retained map control, 245 to 123. This game is all but over, Scott.
Is that really how the saying goes? All but over?
It's all but over. It's my saying now, even though it's not the right one.
But is that actually like, the right one is what I'm wondering.
I hope so.
I think it is. I mean, what else could it be?
Tweet us, let us know if it's the right one.
Okay,
We'll find out.
Taking a look at the stats, we see Amish Acorns going plus 14. Chris, he was your player you said you were expecting to shine this weekend, and he is doing so in our Game 1 versus Triggers Down. So, already this is going to be interesting, Chris, because if Revolution upsets Triggers Down here, and upset meaning that, Triggers Down beats Status Quo, then we are going to see a potential 3-way tie between 3 teams. And I feel like somehow Status Quo will luck out in this situation.
They always seem to luck out in those situations.
Always.
Again, with those stats, too, one thing I wanted to point out, Twin Savior going positive 9 with all of that hill time. Incredibly impressive, doing objective, doing slaying, basically doing everything for his team. But we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we've got Game 2, Oasis Team Slayer coming up next.